red, blue, purple light. Friends, red, blue, purple light. Friends, facts, red, blue, purple light. Friends, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts, you can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road, you better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah, we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts, we in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts, peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light. To the family. Peace, love and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you and it's going to provoke you and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome, 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 welcome to this Friday show. Huh? What's poppin'? Talk black to me. What we doing? How's everybody doing today? Let me know how we sound on the audio before I start running my mouth. Let me know how the audio is sounding and whatnot. How y'all doing on this TGIF? This what they call it, Friday. TGIF, thank God it's Friday type shit, you know. Shout out to everybody coming up off of the JOB. You know what I mean? Pulling up. We're gonna have a nice little conversation. I did have I had to dip early yesterday. We was in the kitchen. Me and Hit Sayu was in the kitchen warming it up. Warming it up. And I had to dip. So I'm back, you know. I'm back to the fact of what I started and whatnot. Information has to get out. You feel me? Information have to get out. It have to fly out. You know what I mean? It have to serve. So there's so much going on. Like just today alone, shout out to Blue Pill, man. The old faithful. You know what I'm talking about? He always comes through with something to reinvigorate the engine and whatnot, you know. So Blue hit me up earlier today, and we start chopping it up about his research and the things that he is deep diving on. And I'm like, damn, bro, that's really some twin shit right there, because we don't always talk about what we're researching all the time. We don't like go over our notes type shit. You know what I mean? Like until there's like these revelations that we have to hit each other. Yo, you won't believe this. But he literally was telling me, we was on the phone and he literally was breaking down to me everything that I was kind of researching. I was like, bro, do you have my phone tapped or something? Like, you know what I mean? but he has my brain tap because that's my twin. You know, the mother. You know what I mean? Like we are the same cell. So the super the super positioning. You know that quantum shit. You know what I mean? The super entanglement. Yeah, it's going down. You know what I mean? It's real. And I was like, okay. So he took me down this dark rabbit hole. Um, and I loved it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yes, yes, I needed this information to kind of like finish this research that I was doing on the Meta Yahoo. He added another layer to this Meta Yahoo research. Um, for anybody that's confused, what the hell is a Meta Yahoo? That sounds like Netanyahu. Hey, wow, ladies and gentlemen, Metayahu, of course, is a play on that name. That name is synonymous with dark things. That name is synonymous with um. That's just a dark thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that name is synonymous with genocide. That name is synonymous with power grabs. You know, it's just some dark shit. Um, so I was like, yo, I was me and him building, and he started talking about the AI, right? And this whole thing about AI and the Antichrist. So I was like, okay, what we talking about? And I started doing my deep dives. Now, mind you, I'm already on a deep dive on one end of the pole on one side of the aisle, right? I'm doing the research for American Gods. I stumble upon an article. I think this was about Lucky Palmer, right? Lucky Palmer is the inventor of the Oculus augmented reality goggles. So Lucky Palmer, he gets contracted by, I believe it was, he sells the goggles to Meta. Then he gets contacted by the military to take his knowledge and go into creating weapons of war. Now, there's been a massive, when I say massive, it's so massive that it beckons for someone to ask the question. And what would that question be? The question would be, how is it that all of the tech companies have shifted to the far right, right? Because remember, you don't want to put politics into corporate America, right? It's supposed to be non-political, right? Non-denominational. However, big tech has become militarized to the degree on, I'm talking about in all ways, from a public facing perspective. You have big tech sitting down with the Pope and Donald Trump. You have big tech at the military parade that was sponsored by Palantir. What was that, on the 4th of July, I believe? What was the military parade? They're having another parade tomorrow. You have big tech being absorbed. So now you see the facade of it, right? Now you see the face of it. Oh, these niggas is, they at the Trump. I'm saying everybody looking like no, well, that's the public facade. They solidified the relationship behind the deal with the paperwork to let niggas know that it's real. So it's not friend, you know what I mean? It's not even about friendship. It's not, but when you see them running around with Trump, when you see them moving around with Peter Thiel, when you see them moving around with JD Vance, when you see them moving around with the heavy hitters, with Stephen fucking Miller, bro. And if you don't know who Stephen Miller is, I would ask you, how do you live in America? And I don't want to hear all of that fake ass conscious shit about, I don't, I'm just not my state. You know what I'm saying? I'm just focusing on I'm focusing on the walnuts and the trees and the squirrels. No, nigga, you live in America, and some people are so, they like their nerve, they wear their nerves on their sleeves. So some people are like, you niggas are push button reactionaries, meaning that they could do anything and get a reaction out of you. Don't hit me with that fake ass just because you don't study and you don't know what the fuck is going on. Don't try to wiggle your way out of it like you're just a namaste nigga and you don't want to know about geopolitics and you don't want to know about the government. And when somebody brings a name up, you don't know who these people are. Now, when Captain Kirk got his shit pushed back, right? When Captain Kirk got bodied and whatnot on September the 10th, I'm not talking about the regular people that's in the audience who I consider to be like students or whatnot. Yo, y'all are learning. So it is, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I learn people's names and I learn about things every day. So I'm not judging. There was a pastor, there was like a preacher in the Hebrew Israelites. They ran down on this preacher at the State Farm Arena. I don't know who the fuck this preacher guy is, but apparently y'all know. I mean, people know who he is. So that just goes to show you I learned something new every day, because I went and did the deep dive on, what is it, Philip something, the preacher. And I'm like, all right, that's your man's and whatnot. Cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I don't need to know that nigga's name because he's not in power. You feel me? He doesn't, whoever that preacher guy is, I don't be around Bible thumpers like that. So I don't care. It does. So I could say I don't care, and I could say that it don't matter, and I could say whatever. And that shit will have some validity. But if you don't know who your ops are, if you don't know who is the person running the government, because it's not Donald Trump. So if you don't know who Stephen Miller is, if you haven't heard of Stephen Miller, let alone Charlie Kirk, then, and you like, yeah, it's a war going on outside. I'm on the front line. No, you're not. No, you're not. There's nothing frontline about you. Have a fucking seat, my nigga. I will get triggered because in order to talk to me about war, in order to talk to me about in order to talk to me about any type of smoke, my nigga, you got to say names. I need to know the logistics. Who's this person? Who's that? It's the same thing in the streets. Imagine you lived in a projects or a NYCHA. You lived in a public housing, and the building next to you, these dudes are trying to knock you off. You don't have no concern as to what their names are. You didn't do no intel. You're just running with faith. Nah, fam. War is intel. Thank you. War is intel. I am not impressed by nobody in this community who's not studying, who's not on top of their business. Whatever niche that you claim that you're a master student in, you need to know what the fuck is going on in that niche. You need to body that shit. Too much lazy ass scholarship, and the students have become lazy as a result. And what we don't fare better like that. Y'all are taking up space. You know what I mean? It's just a waste of time. Get into nigga shit. Leave this alone. You know what I'm talking about? Get into nigga shit, bro. It's rewarding. Go do some nigga shit. Go pick up the flag that they dropping and whatnot. Go gangbang or go trade Palantir stocks, nigga. Leave this alone. But anyway, Peter Miller, we call him Killer Miller, is the most peaceful person in America right now. He is Donald Trump's secret. He is the Geppetto to Donald Trump right now. He's running the show. He's the one who is green lighting the drone attacks on the Venezuelan. No, let me scratch that. The Trinidadian, okay, because you know Trini and Venice, they then killed a few Trinidadians and said that they was drug dealers and whatnot. There's no way to prove that nobody in those boats are drug dealers. There's no way to prove. So they are literally creating a war with Venezuela because what do they want? The same thing that they wanted from Gaza, that oil. Stephen Miller is his name. Stephen Miller. What did I say? What name did I say? Stephen Miller. We call him Killer Miller. Right? Killer Miller, Pete Hegseth, right? Who is the Secretary of War, right? Peter Thiel. All of these people are going to be subjects in the conversation that I will have on Sunday, the dissertation that I'm going to be having on Sunday called Meta Yahoo. This will be taking place off of the public platforms because I don't want to get flogged. Right? I don't want to get flogged. You know what I'm saying? Because they will flog the God if I get out here. It's almost like if I stand in Harlem and get on top of a soapbox in front of whole school and start talking shit, right? So here we go. Hit dogs bark. So this nigga must got hit. What are any of you niggas gonna do about this government thing but sit online and make that money? You gotta pay the government back in taxes. All y'all fools and your followers are too, right? So bots from Botswana or a moist nigga in his mama's basement with no motion and being hit by strays that I'm throwing. Okay. One thing that I will say outside of answering a loaded question like that and implicating myself on YouTube about what I'm doing, I would say this: to be completely ignorant of the war that's taking place, to be completely ignorant of the fact that your ass is getting cooked, to be completely ignorant, right, of the even the names of these people who are identified as ops to God's chosen people. Nigga, you're the goofy. Okay, that's the most goofiest shit that I could ever hear in my life. You are afraid of what the fuck is going. You're scared of the dark. You're scared of what's going on outside. Because once again, all of that, man, I don't even, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm eating fruits. I'm all right, cool. You're, you know, that's not, I don't occupy that position. I'm in the war chamber, my nigga. This is the war report. I am a frontline journalist, right? Like them dudes be wearing the vest and whatnot. I that's not my only job. You know what I'm saying? I lampoon as a journalist every now and then. So that's where we're going with it. Okay. But going back to these people, I'm going to be highlighting these personalities, these personas, these individuals on Sunday, and I'm going to explain what Meta Yahoo is about. So what is Meta Yahoo? Meta is Hebrew for death. Is Hebrew for death. And Yahoo, when I thought Yahoo was just the website and whatnot, but once again, one thing that you are going to realize and one thing that you're going to notice is there is a very thin line between the occult or the Satanists, right, and the Silicon Valley tech bros. Very, very thin line. They somewhat occupy the same spaces. And when you really start to do the knowledge, they share some of the same information, right? They utilize the same lexicons. But Yahoo, when you go and just do a regular research on Yahoo, a Yahoo is a wild nigga. A Yahoo is a bully. A Yahoo is a bully and a wild boy, right? So the Meta Yahoo, right? So we know about Yahoo, right? Remember when Ye had the net and he had the Yahoo on what's his name? Alex Jones. I was gonna say Alex Stone. East, okay. East just got us. You a legend. Shout out to everybody that's gonna get the tickets tonight. I'm gonna make it worth your while. If you were in American Gods, if you were in American Gods, Manifest Destiny, I want you to look in your email either tonight or tomorrow because you'll have access to this dissertation. I'm not going to call it a lecture. This is a dissertation. This is a result of about 2 to 3 weeks of intense research. I'm talking about I've been deep diving. I've been going in with this shit. It's a very dark place. You understand? It's a very dark place. This rabbit hole that I've been going down, I'm gonna need about a week off, you know what I'm saying, to just cleanse myself. Because going down this rabbit hole, if your mental fortitude is not somewhat stitched together, I don't actually encourage everyone to always go down certain rabbit holes. Because you could go down a rabbit hole and come back up from that rabbit hole shook to death. I'm talking about scared shitless, scared straight. I mean white hair type shit. Because you might not be prepared for what you may come across. You feel me? And it will rattle you. It will rattle you if you don't have a foundation. You have to be very courageous. It will rattle you. You know what I mean? Because there are certain rabbit holes that don't end. Okay. Yes, the people who attended the most recent MAGAFest Destiny, you have access. You're going to be grandfathered in. Patreon, you have access. It don't matter what level you are on Patreon, from the bottom, from the first level to the top tier level of Rainbow Opal. You also will be grandfathered in. This will be on Sunday at 7:00. I will keep in mind that y'all have lives to live and y'all have things to do on Monday. However, that would be the same time slot that we had for the Health and Wellness Expo that we were going to do. So whatever we were going to live stream that. So for those people who are trying, I put some time to decide on Sunday. Well, I filled that slot for you. We're going to be in school. We're going to be learning. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. Okay. Now, Meta Yahoo, the rise of the Antichrist algorithm. We're talking about. Well, like I said, Blue Pill sent me a video earlier today. Tucker Carlson interviewing, let me get the white boy's name. Tucker Carlson, right? Interviewing a European who was talking about the occult, the Kabbalah, and the Antichrist. Woo! I'm not necessarily going to say that he went all the way in, but he went all the way in. He went all the way in because in reality, I promote that book on this show, right? I promote that book on it. I had 2 years ago, I did a show called The Pale Face Horseman. Or remember they talked about the Pale Horseman from the book Pale, the Pale, what was that? The Pale Horse. What's the name of that book? The Pale Horse, right? So I'm like, yo, we got a modern day version of the Four Horsemen. I'm identifying it. Behold the Pale Horse. Thank you. So Behold the Pale Horse, I remixed it and I did the show Behold a Pale Horseman, right? Behold the Pale Horseman. And there's nobody paler on this planet than planet. I mean, goddamn. If Pale had a face in a dictionary, if Pale had a picture on Wikipedia, it would be this pasty ass dude. I know he be locked in. He got the company called Boring, where they boring tunnels and whatnot. The nigga don't be outside, man. Whatever he does, he don't get no sunlight. I think he is allergic. He might be the biggest investor with this fake sun that China's trying to build. I think he is the angel investor behind that shit, because he don't get no sunlight. His shit is pasty. I mean, god damn it. But anyway, behold a pale, pasty ass horseman. And I got that book, End of Reality, and it opened up my mind. And I was like, yes, I'm standing on this shit. Yeah. Peter Thiel, Zuckerberg, Mark Andreessen, and Elon Musk. Those would be my four. This was before they got absorbed into the government. This is before they became military. This is before they showed up with Trump. This is before they jumped ship. Remember, these were the libertarians. These are libertarian. You know what I'm talking about? These are like progressive libertarians. You know what I mean? They agnostic libertarians. They were posing like they were not even religious, y'all. These people were posing like they had no religion. We're talking about all of the tech bros in Silicon Valley, right? They're non-religious. They're not denominational, right? Come to find out, all of them are yahoos, right? They all yahoos. Bill Gates is like the emperor. He's like son from Star Wars. He's beyond the pale. He's beyond the horsemen. These horsemen that I named, when we named them, they weren't like, it was like, why are you talking about Elon? It was so far-fetched to name them the four horsemen. To name Bill Gates a horseman, that's not really saying much. So the Pope received a pale horse as a gift. We can't be, this can't be serious. Huh? Emperor Palpatine. Sounds like Palantir. Emperor Palpatine. So Palantir is the fucking eye from Lord of the Rings. That's the company Palantir. That's like the top straight in the top. That EYL and all of these niggas have told black people to invest in. That makes my blood boil, fam. I'm not feeling that at all. Like that's a flag on the play. You told black people, you told niggas to buy Palantir stocks, nigga. Oh nah, nah. Flag on the play. We got to talk about that, man. We got to talk about that. What the fuck? Do you know what Palantir is doing? So you funded the genocide. Every single one of you day trading niggas, every single one of y'all that went behind Palantir is Gaza blowing babies up. That is Palantir. And you're supposed to know that. You're supposed to know that out the rip. With all of that, we studying the companies before we invest in them. All right, goofy. You didn't find out that Palantir was a fucking Skynet, nigga. All of the people pushing that stock is goofy in my eyes. I don't care. Like, all money is not good money. If you would buy Palantir stocks, what other stocks you would buy? You would buy a fucking SS stock. You would buy a stock from Adolf himself. You know what I'm saying? So let's be clear. Let's be clear about what the fuck is going on in black society. These niggas are off. There's no code. Nobody is on code. Nobody is following no type of codes, bro. And it ain't even like it's hidden anymore. If you get on a platform and have the permission and have the audacity to push Palantir, of all stocks, it's 5,000 of them. You're gonna push these niggas? I mean, if you just do one Google search on both Peter Thiel and the other dude, I think his name is Alex. These are some cuckoo dude. These are some straight nut jobs. I'm talking about this is the Antichrist, if you want to give it some type of connotation. Like, fam, no, we can't be doing that. We can't be doing that. No, that ain't it. That ain't it. So anyway, when Blue Pill brought this video to my attention about the Antichrist, Kabbalah, and this dude and the occult, I went and checked it out. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm somewhat impressed. I'm not that impressed because once again, the information, information has levels to it. It should, they should put grades on information, like grade A, like you feel me, like Wagyu information. You know what I'm talking about? Like Wagyu information versus, American deli type of shit. You know what I mean? It was given, it was in the middle of that. It was like a Subway sandwich. You know what I'm talking about? It was all right. It was all right, But he was dropping a little something. But this what they do. They do, especially Tucker. He's a master of this shit. What is the Kabbalah? Please explain that to me. Joe Rogan does that. Carlson does that. What is the KKK? Please break it down for me. I've heard about it. I might have came across it, but what is that? Like they'll act that they have the that's their platform. They have the right to do what the hell they want to do, but they play dumb about shit that they're probably actively involved in. So the white boy who got on there, he was red pilling them, right? He was red pilling. Let me see what his name is. He's basically red pilling whoever's watching, right? But once again, it is a telltale sign of how Conrad Flynn is his name. Conrad Flynn, right? Yeah, they play super dumb. You feel me? They be playing dumb as rocks. But a wise man can play a fool, but a fool can't play a wise man. Them niggas on them podcasts, they really dumb. They're not playing it. They really dumb. But then you got, once again, my pet peeve, and I see it on Joe Button. I see it a few other times. Smart niggas acting dumb. If you want to push my button and get me riled up, yeah, show me a smart nigga on somebody's platform acting dumb. Show me. And you'll see me react. You know what I mean? You'll see me act the fucking fool, because that is a pet peeve of mine. It's almost like it gets under my skin. You feel me? I start breaking out and shit. I'm like, why, fam? Why you don't got a lot of kick it, Craig? Niggas is still in 2025. They still on the internet, tucking their tail, dimming their light, and doing this thing what I call black sense, right? I hate white people that talk with black sense. I abhor that. I don't even like when niggas from the UK and like Africa try to put on a black scent, especially the girls and whatnot. Have a fucking seat. Everyone is performing. The whole internet, everybody is on the internet performing like niggas with a black scent. Everybody is cosplaying. Everybody is stunting. Everybody is hummer stunting and trying to be something that they're fucking not. And then have the nerve to have an aversion towards us. Code switching to try to be a nigga? Oh, man, y'all really lost. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all are really lost. Find the freedom of just being yourself. That's where it's at. Find the freedom, whatever road, whatever exit on a highway that you got to get off of, however you have to come to terms with it. Please, black man and black man, just find the freedom in being yourself. Guess what? It is okay to be weird. It wasn't before, but it is now. It is now. You could be when I say weird, the weird is a definition that it varies based off of who is perceiving it. You know what I'm saying? Because Weird Al Yankovic would look at Cyndi Lauper and be like, "Yo, she's below average." You know what I mean? He won't see nothing weird in her because it's coming from Weird Al Yankovic, right? So it's all perspective at the end of the day. But yeah, it's time to be a little weird and whatnot. Don't try to conform and be like the norm. The normies are being aggressively replaced and scrubbed. Right? Yeah, anime is the new cool. Anime is the new cool. Anime is like, I don't even like anime no more because Meg Thee Stallion got basic bitches and basic niggas talking about they anime. Once again, coming into a space, cosplaying and following someone else, and it's not authentic. You know what I mean? You're not really a cosplayer. You're not really, you didn't see Fist of the North Star, fam. Shut, have a seat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm asking them all kind of anime questions and they don't know nothing. They just be like, Konnichiwa. Come on, man. Let's go to this Meta Yahoo commercial and then we'll be right back. Let's go to a commercial. We'll be right back.
Pistol Pete. I don't know why they think it's sweet. They better ask Pistol Pete. This is the War Department, no more lord-ass sergeants. Cut them beards off, pass them in a dead press. Cut them ears off, his mouth running like a horse, trying to cut them ears off. Then I was reading the X-Files, they spoke on Peter the Reptile, the Antichrist and leaders in exiles, autonomous killing machines and projectiles, rainbows on his textiles. Yes, child, techno-fascist, we call them Meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou, street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them Meta Yahoo. In a digital world with ineligible girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou, street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them Meta Yahoo. In a digital world with ineligible girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou, street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu.
So in this world of American Gods, in this new season of American Gods, right? In this new season of American Gods, they are creating gods in front of us. These are not benevolent gods, though. These are not benevolent gods. No, no, no. These are dark, evil, demonic entities and whatnot. These are the old gods. These are the Roman gods. These are their crusader gods. You understand? This is who is being channeled. I don't want to get off place and whatnot because I have a dissertation that's put together and it's pretty structured. Y'all know how I get. I could jump all over the place. But I want to be very intentional with my conversation tonight, right? I have some videos queued up. We're going to play some videos, have some conversation, have a little bit of dialogue. I aim to be up out of here hopefully by 8:39. Meta Yahoo. There are some figures that have risen. This and all of this is information that happened after the day after our lecture called American Gods, MAGA Fest Destiny. The day that I hung up the microphone and we was like, woo, we got that one out the way. Everything that we'll be talking about on Sunday is stemming. It's called the epilogue. It's an epilogue. It's to the work that we did with MAGA Fest Destiny. And one of the great things about Blue Pill and myself and others that I've seen as well is that we have this ability to somewhat forecast, right? Somewhat be a soothsayer, being able to project in the future. You all right? We had that, we have somewhat of that ability to, whereas, and it's not, we're not magicians, we're not voodoo priests, we are researchers. That's all you have to do is just be very studious, and by being studious you could tell, you actually could predict the future, right? You literally, because this is a predictable reality that we're living in. Everything is about cause and effect. This shit is a theater, like somebody brought up earlier, is central casting at its finest, right? It's all a stage and whatnot. Imagine if you had billionaires on your team, family. Imagine if you had oil barons, right? People with old money from slavery and shit like that. People with old money from, like, Palantir, old Nike stock money type shit. You know what I mean? All of these people on the far right, they got long money over there. I'm talking about long money. Like, they got billionaires over there, right? And we're not talking about, we talking trillionaires, right? Because even on the Republican side, there are billionaires who are utilizing their money to make things happen, right? What I'm talking about when it comes to this money is the ability to manipulate reality, utilizing resources and utilizing almost like an endless budget and whatnot. Central casting. You can manipulate all type of events, black swan events, false flag events. You can hire people as crisis actors. I mean, you could buy out whole governments. You could create and manipulate and create revolutions, like the what was that, the Arab Spring, shit like that. The Soros and all of them have been they've manipulated markets with their money, with their resources. Yo, do you know that we as a community, or me, or somebody who has the bread, they could go ahead and purchase time slots on the news. You could buy out a block of time on the news. Yeah. It's called advertising and commercials and whatnot. But they even take it further. You could buy, George Soros was able to buy 24-hour, 48-hour slots to push whatever agenda that he was promoting. And this happened around the time, he was the one who was doing the ritual. People might say, brother, that was social justice. No, it wasn't. Because you might call it social justice because you don't study. It was a ritual. They picking out dead bodies, and because niggas die every day. So they pick out dead bodies and then they ritualize, they consecrate the cadavers, right? It's all a ritual. They stand on top of the bodies like that depiction of Kali standing on top of that man with her tongue out. So in 2020, Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion stood on top of George Soros' cadaver, his body, with their ass and their tongue out. And they dropped the movie, they dropped the video in a song called WAP, right? That was a ritual. Huh. That was all a ritual. It's part of, because the ritual is a ceremony. And part of that ceremony is it includes some box, you know what I mean? Sexual energy, you know what I'm talking about? But even with these people, they don't even want the yoni. They practice something called tunnel of set magic. They practice something called Typhonian magic. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They don't want the yoni, but they do want the sex magic. They do want the perversion. They do want women busting it wide open and whatnot, with no knowledge whatsoever as to who the fuck or what the fuck or why the fuck. You know what I mean? They just want people to react off of their desires, They want people to react off of their sexual promiscuity. They want people to be hypersexualized and dumb as a fucking bag of rocks, right? And that's what happened in 2020. They was dumbing people down. They was dumbing people down with all of that fake sex magic. You know what I mean? They were dumbing people down. You had the Rainbow Coalition twerking in front of the popo and whatnot. Like, yeah, we're gonna sleep our way to peace, right? We're gonna have hedonism. We're gonna have orgies and Caligula our way to peace. No, what was that? That was people. That was black people basically bending the knee. You know. You know, shut up, Jeremy. It's your weird ass. Ask some stupid ass questions. Everybody always, man, y'all, bro. Yeah, where the fuck is Dochi at? Anyway, yeah, we canceled Dochi. Yeah, cancel Dochi. Get the fuck out of here. Where is she? She's nowhere to be found. So she got canceled. She got canceled. You know what I mean? She got to come back and try again. Cardi B, you know, Meg the Stallion, and all of these other thoughts, they are a part of the quote unquote ritual. And the ritual involves orgone energy. The ritual orgone energy, and it also involves a lot of all of that rage that the people were going through, all of that they were emitting a lot of trauma, a lot of rage. Black people were exploding and whatnot. They were able to feed off of that. That was a good plate of luch, and they were able to feed off of that. They were able to get stronger off of that. They were able to basically level up off of that. I don't care if you support Dochi. Okay, cool. What? Let me see. Is there a lollipop in here or a stick gum? Like, what do I give you? I didn't ask you that. I don't care. Like, what does that mean? We're talking some heavy shit, and you niggas are talking about Dochi. Please, fam. I beg of you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. I'm gonna send you some fucking crocodile gummies and whatnot in a minute. You know, I'll send you some crocodile gummies. Give me your mailing address or your PO box, and I'll take care of you because you listen to Dochi. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, we need that. We need that sound effect. I think I got a new sound effect. Let me try it out. Whoop-de-doo. You know, like, I mean, you know, we trying to cook and we talk about Dochi. All right, but anyway, this whole thing with these occultists, right? These occultists on the far right, because we could talk about the spirit cookers on the far left. That would be called liberals. That's the people who take the aborted babies, and they doing their magic on them. That's all the small hats, right? That's the small hats. That's the liberals. That's the progressives. That's the feminazis. All of these feminists that convince our women to get down with them and abort their babies. All of that's their form of magic. That's their spirit cooking. They do the Jeffrey Epstein flying little girls, but they like children. Like they like children. They deal with all of that type shit. You know what I mean? They are dealing with the Typhonian sex magic. You know what I mean? Yeah, they mess with. Yeah, they dealing with that. You know, they dealing with that. So we're talking more so about the people on the far right. And when you talk about the people on the far right, we want to highlight we want to highlight Stephen Bannon, right? So I've been on Stephen Bannon's case since like 2016. Ever since I laid eyes on him, I'm like, yeah, we need to. He's one of those. He's one of those shadowy figures, right? That's always in the background. But if you know how to read energy, and if you know how to quote unquote, when you looking at somebody that's in power, you know how to spot a power player, right? So Stephen Bannon was a power player in the Trump administration, but prior to that, he was over whatchamacallit, Breitbart, right? He was over Breitbart, okay? And Breitbart, like in 2015, 2014, like Breitbart, along with what's that news report that Blue always reads? We used to get a lot of news from Breitbart because Breitbart is a white supremacist, or Breitbart is a whatchamacallit, is like one of those, it's very far right, you know what I mean? It's a propagandist website and whatnot. No, not InfoWars. Did he get jail time? Yeah. He did a little skid bid because some shit dealing with Trump. He did a little skid bid and whatnot. He went to the feds, and he came out and he was like, "Yeah, I was chilling with the niggas, the blacks, and they were treating me right and everything." I'm like, bro, you should supposed to come out with a. You're supposed to come out of that bed with some new tattoos on your face. You know what I'm talking about? You're supposed to come out of that bitch with a with about $1.50, about $3.50s. If niggas knew who you were, they would have ate your food. So once again, you lose by default because you don't even know who's around you. You don't take care of but guess who cleans up all of they ops? Guess who cleans up the other side will know who they ops are. They following they ops. They are infatuated with their ops, and they take their ops out. They knock them off. Is it real? Is they when it comes to the drill, to the scorecard, yeah, they show you if that's what you're into, because everybody is not into shit like that. But if you're in it, because if you lock in and you on wartime, if you on that time, then you got to be on that time all the way. And if you on that time all the way, shout out to all of my people in the audience who were in the armed forces. There go the Drudge Report. Thank you. Tut TV, we think alike. The Drudge Report and Breitbart were like the polar opposite of like the Huffington Post. All of that shit is what it is and whatnot. But Stephen Bannon holds a lot of weight because he has Breitbart. Then when he left the White House, somebody said he got kicked out. But when he left the White House, he formed the War Room, right? He has something over there called a War Room. So Bannon talks about war a lot, right? Bannon is infatuated with war, right? But Bannon is because Bannon is basically the new Rush Limbaugh, right? In a way where he controls the zeitgeist for the ones he's not. And remember, the name of the show is called a War Room. So Steve Bannon is a war strategist. Feel me? Steve Bannon is a war strategist. So he is the one who is helping his compatriots catch bodies and whatnot, and basically, leave no trace. Lone gunman. Oh, I don't have no trace. I don't have no footprint. I'm not affiliated with nobody. Right? Steve Bannon, he kind of like, you know what I mean? He's the one with the dog whistle, right? He's the one with the dog whistle. So he won't show his hand until it's time to show his hand. But if you know anything about Steve Bannon and how he moves, Steve Bannon is very cunning. He has to, you know what I mean? He has to be studied. Yeah, he was behind Trump's first term, right? But he took it further, and he took his show into Europe, right? So when he left the White House, he took his clout that he took whatever clout that he had, and he brought it into Europe. That's where MAGA is not saying that he started the MAGA movement, but he is the one who is sitting with, he's like a master teacher, you know, in so many ways. He's like he has Grand Wizard energy. Yes, all the fucking way. He gives me Crowley energy. You feel me? And you always remember, they're the ones that are the powerful ones are not in front of the camera. There's nobody powerful in front of a camera. Let's just be clear. Just to dispel the rumors. Power is not in front of the camera. Okay? Power is not in front of the camera. Power is behind the camera, coaching and telling that nigga, whatever monkey is in front of the camera, what to do. The performer. You feel me? He's directing the performer, and the performers are expendable. It's almost like new day, new performer type shit. You're not bigger than, you're not even the program. You're not bigger than the program. You're not the program. And don't get it fucked up. You're the help. So we get to find that out when we see Where Are They Now, Unsung, you know, all of these Hollywood documentaries, and be like, damn, that was my favorite actor. Why they dogged her or him like that? Why? Because they were expendable, because they were the help, and because they were standing in front of some very powerful dark people who were using them like puppeteers were using Pinocchio. His name is Stephen Bannon. Right? So Stephen Bannon. Let me see, who was the white dude that there's a thought leader that he studies, somebody from the past, very famous in Europe. He's the thought leader that I'm talking about. He's big in Italy. I think he's from Italy. Huh? And he's you know how we got like Elijah Muhammad, right? And we read Elijah's writings. We read Marcus Garvey's writing. These are our thought leaders from 100 years ago who have what? Inspired the leaders of today. Inspired whoever is able to answer that, I got a gift for you. That's just not something that everybody knows. I think it's Frank Evio, something with an E. But this is the guy whose ideologue Stephen Bannon is resuscitating and going around Europe and reminding the far right and whatnot of these writings. And basically, that's like the foundation of his philosophy, right? No, it's not Machiavelli. It's not Machiavelli. It's not one of those. It's somebody that we wouldn't know, because this person who I'm speaking of, he's one of the writers that like the far right in the race soldiers and whatnot. We don't know their master, their names of our master teachers, and we don't unfortunately know the name of theirs. Remember, they got authors, right? They got authors, they got psychologists, they're philosophers, they got Friedrich Nietzsche, they got Carl Jung, they got Sigmund Freud, right? They have philosophers. They have then they have the Greek myths, Prometheus. You know what I mean? The time period of this person is Mussolini time. I'm talking about this dude was around with Mussolini. The dude that I'm speaking of with Stephen Bannon is going around Europe and kind of like, you know, he's pushing the populism. He pushes populism Steve Bannon is pushing the whole populism. He's pushing populism, certain things disguised as fascism, disguised and whatnot. But when it all goes down, you know, he'll be one of those ones that are going to show their fangs. Him and Stephen Miller were in the White House together. Steve Miller, right? That's his name, Steve, right? Killer Miller. Killer Miller stayed behind, and Steve Bannon went on to build out what it is that he built out with the Breitbart, because it was almost like he couldn't be in the White House because he was so lit in Trump's first term. He was so toxic. It's not Gene. It's somebody else. But you're getting very close. It's definitely not France Fanon. It's not him. It's somebody with an E in his name. And this is a very famous philosopher for the far, very famous philosopher. When y'all mention his name, there you go, Julius Evola Ensliges. Send me your email so I can send you a ticket for Sunday, and that's gonna be on the house. You know what I mean? But Julius Evola, if you want to go ahead and do, you know, we all in class, so we're going to be doing our research, and we're going to look into some of these people because we want to understand we want to understand who these people are, because what they'll do in media is they'll encompass the reading and the writing and the philosophies of all of these people, and they'll put it underneath one of these non-conspicuous terms like populism. And then we'll hear them throw that shit around, and be like, I got better things to do. I don't know what that is. That's niggas that are popular. You know what I mean? Like we won't look into it. But that's how it be. You know what I mean? They'll put it in it'll be hidden in public. But you don't know certain things because you just don't know. They don't know certain things because they just don't know until one of us tells them, right? So that dynamic works both ways. There's shit that they like, yo. But to be honest with you, they're not hiding anything. Like he'll go and sit down with the New York Times, and he'll speak about his love of certain people. He'll speak about these people. It's just that we don't have, and I'm not talking, it's millions of us. Where is the organization that is the equivalent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in nigger kingdom? Where's the intelligentsia? Where's the people who I could go to? I could need a folder. If I need a folder on somebody, right? Who do I turn to? I need a dossier on the op. Which one of you black organizations with your college graduate staff in your acumen, where are you at? Where can I, who could, because they could go to the ACL, with the ADL, the ACLU, they go to the ADL. They have all of these organizations that they propped up that all they do is collect information on you niggas and you niggas and you niggas, and they compartmentalize it. And then when people want to come and do their research, they at least have somewhere to start. Might not be able to solve the whole case, but at least we got somewhere to start. We have source material so we could begin to source through it. We don't have that. We have splinter organizations, and we have teachers who they might feel like it went, you know what, my channel is demonetized. Let me talk about some deep shit today. You know what? I'm selling a fucking hat. Let me talk about this shit that involves the hat. You know what I mean? Like, niggas ain't really putting their elbow grease into the shit right now. Let's be clear. It's a lot of lazy scholarship out there. Niggas ain't really going in like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that the people are requiring them to go in like that. You know what I mean? Just a little dopamine boost and whatnot. Niggas, whoo, I'm good. Woo, it's like hitting a fucking roach. It's like hitting a roach. They get their little and then they good. But it's like, no, my niggas. We deserve better. We deserve better. As a matter of fact, let me let Dean talk to y'all because he's tight. My nigga Dean he had enough of y'all.
You niggas are anti-black. For what reason? Black history is all of you niggas are anti-black. For what reason? Black history is American history. But being anti-black is the most American thing you can do while simultaneously dismissing the contributions that made not only the rights you get to enjoy and benefit from possible, but the reason that you have in America in the first place.
Talk that talk, son. Talk that talk.
Aeroplane propelling, biscuit cutting, folding bed, coin changer, rotary engine, car coupler, letterbox, stainless steel pads, torpedo discharger, disposable syringe, home security system, corn planter, cotton planter, ironing board, street sweeper, horse bridle bit, horseshoe, lawnmower, typewriter, train alarm, image converter for radiation detector, peanut butter, paints and stains, lotions and soaps, automatic fishing reel, ice cream mold, printing press, envelope seal, laser fuels, pressure cooker, window cleaner, pencil sharpener, fire extinguisher, lock, shoe lasting machine, lubrication, rocket catapult, elevator, gas mask, traffic signal, hairbrush, heating furnace, airship, the blimp, folding chair, hand stamp, fountain pen, dustpan, insect destroyer gun, baby buggy, sugar refinement, clothes dryer, cell phone, pressing comb, curtain rod, lawn sprinkler, automatic gear shift, urinalysis machine, horse riding saddle, shoe, piano player, player piano. Oh, player piano arm for record player, doorstop, doorknob, photo print wash, photo embossing machine, postal letterbox, toilet commode, furniture caster, guitar, golf, the motor, thermal hair couplers, lantern, gas burner, kitchen table, bicycle frame, wrench, eye protector, egg beater, defroster, air conditioning unit, 2-cycle gas engine, internal combustion engine, starter generator, refrigeration controls, clothes dresser, bottle cap, electric lamp, hydraulic shock absorber, refrigerator, mop, stair climbing wheelchair, fire escape ladder, telephone transmitter, electric cutoff switch, relay instrument, telephone system, electromagnetic brake, the galvanic battery, electric railway system, roller coaster, auto air brakes, helicopter, Santa phone, super soaker, blood plasma, ice cream is fucking self, pacemaker controls, guided missile, space shuttle retrieval arm, programmable remote controllers, video commander, multi-stage rocket, GPS system, every fucking thing!
In the cradle of civilization, nigga.
Oh, it say that here too. I just skipped over that. Paper, chess, alphabet, medicine, civilization. Ow!
So yeah, nigga, mic drop.
But because you don't want to acknowledge, like they make you hate us for a reason, nigga.
Tell that to your African friends. Tell that to your brothers and sisters from the Caribbean. Shout out to y'all. Tell that to your African friends when you in Dirty December and them niggas is trying to talk crazy while they rizzing you up, shorty, and they talking down on us. Tell them that. You know what I'm talking about? Tell them that. You know what I mean? Tell that to your co-workers at the water cooler to be having your ass under mad pressure, making you look crazy. Yeah, tell them that. You know what I mean? Fight back. Fight back, G. For real.
Now who created the potato chip? That was George Crumb. Lonnie Johnson invented the super soaker water gun. Brian Jones made the air conditioning unit for show. Alexander Miles, automatic elevator doors. George Washington Carver made over 300 products from peanuts. Lyda Newman made the hairbrush. The fire escape ladder was Joseph Winters. Willie Johnson made the egg beater. Who ready for dinner? The modern doorknob, that was Osborne Dorsey. Okay. And plus he made the door stopper. We keep rejoicing over names like Daniel. We don't even show courtesy. He performed the first open heart surgery. Sarah Boone made the modern day ironing board. Philip Downing made the mailbox. The list goes on. The hot comb, that was Madam C.J. Walker. Okay. So many who would rather be doers instead of talkers. John Stewart made the mop. Benjamin Banneker made America's first clock. Yeah, we built a lot. So many more names could be on this list. But the verse is pretty much done, so class dismissed. We are amazing in intelligent, so powerful. The definition of excellent, relevant, that's evident. Embrace this while we show off our greatness. Take a look at what we made. It's amazing. Take a look at what we made. It's amazing. Take a look at what we made. I said it's amazing.
Yeah, my nigga, it's amazing. It's amazing. Our greatest invention, white bitches. You know what I'm talking about? White niggas. That's our greatest invention. Let's be clear. You just can't tell it to them like that because they get moist and whatnot. They get all, you know, they don't know. You know what I mean? It's like music, you know what I mean? Like imagine you hearing that for the first time. But that is what it is. We made them. We created them. Like we created everything else. Look at all of the things that we created. It should be of no surprise that we could create a whole race of people. I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but damn. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it is what it is. We are the creators. We are the fathers. We are the mothers and fathers, not only of civilization, but of a lot of shit, bro. And they need to cut it out. We need our, we, you know, shit. Give us free, you know, give us free. The way that they treat our people, you would think we ain't did shit, bro. But it's not adding up. The math ain't mathing. That's too many names of shit that people mention of things that we have been responsible for. My nigga, I need a seat at the motherfucking VIP, not to even sit with y'all. Make, you know what I mean? We need our own restaurant, but God damn it. We active. Don't ever let nobody make you feel like we wasn't active. The niggification of melanated people that began to happen in the late 80s and early 90s does not define us as a motherfucking people. The only thing that y'all have proof of us being wild derelicts is those Hollywood movies and just shit from the 80s and on. You don't see them pulling up images of us in the 1920s looking out of place, 30s and 40s looking like goofies and whatnot. And don't take the fact that you saw images of our people getting beat up and whatnot or swung on and they didn't swing back. That actually was a plan. That was a plan that they agreed upon. That was a strategy that people had to prepare. They had to train for that. They had to train for that. They was whooping ass and putting belt to ass off camera and in many other situations. So don't get it effed up and whatnot. Why do they talk so crazy about us? Why do they treat us like this? And I'm not just talking about people with pale skin. I'm not just talking about them pale faces either. You feel me? Let this brother, let's listen to this. This is some deep shit right here. Listen to this. Listen to this. Let's unpack this right here. You know what I'm talking about?
Sociopaths? I'm not just saying it for shock value. I know it sounds like an insult, but it's not meant to mock believers. It's meant to...
Heaven is a place for sociopaths. Tell that to your preacher. Tell that to your pastor. And tell that to some of your evangelical psychopathic ass friends. Let's go.
When I say heaven is a place for sociopaths, I'm not just saying it for shock value. I know it sounds like an insult, but it's not meant to mock believers. It's meant to interrogate the moral logic of what's being celebrated. Because if we strip away the emotional comfort and look at it rationally, the core idea of heaven, eternal joy existing alongside eternal suffering, is a contradiction that only works if you suspend empathy. It forces a question few dare to ask. How could a moral being experience eternal bliss knowing that others are in endless agony? That's tribal triumph, and that's where the sociopathic parallel comes in. To enjoy heaven, you must learn to feel nothing for the condemned. To find peace, you must silence compassion. That's moral detachment disguised as righteousness. Right. In this model, empathy isn't rewarded, it's punished. Because empathy would ruin the experience. If heaven is truly perfect, then you can't be troubled by the screams of the damned. You can't grieve the friends or family who didn't make it. You can't mourn the injustice of eternal suffering. You must call it divine order. That means heaven's peace depends on one's ability to emotionally disassociate from suffering, an ability psychologists call moral disengagement. In essence, the gates of heaven don't just filter out sinners, they filter out our feelings as well. If you designed a society where its citizens could only be happy by ignoring pain, that society would not be moral. It would be pathological. That's what sociopathy is, the severing of empathy from identity. In psychological terms, it's the capacity to rationalize harm or injustice in service to a higher ideal, to say it's okay because it's God's will. If heaven is populated by people who can witness eternal suffering and still call it good, then the only people who could truly enjoy heaven are those who've learned to stop feeling. This isn't just a critique of theology, it's a mirror to the believer, because every time someone says they'll get what's coming to them or God's justice will take care of that, they're rehearsing the psychology of heaven. They're learning how to detach, how to feel peace in the face of pain, and how to justify cruelty as divine. Heaven, in that sense, becomes the final test of empathy, and most of its imagined residents fail it beautifully. If eternal joy requires blindness to eternal suffering, then heaven isn't a reward for goodness. It's the apex of moral anesthesia. It's a world where empathy is incompatible with peace. And if that's true, then maybe heaven isn't a place for the loving at all. Maybe it's the last refuge of those who have learned to mistake indifference for faith.
So what if you were an evangelical European? What if you were a quote unquote Protestant, Baptist, whatever, Roman Catholic, and the further you went up the ladder in your teachings and whatnot, you began to discover the unspoken, hidden history of your denomination or of your religion. And you come to find out that Jesus is a black man and God is a woman, right? A black woman. You would not want to go to heaven as a Jimmy Swaggart or Kenneth Copeland or what. You don't want to go to heaven. That's that they're not putting on to go to the heaven that you niggas were promised. They know where they're going, and it's not heaven. They're not aiming for heaven. Let's be clear with all of this crypto shit. These crypto Christians, and I ain't talking about money when I say crypto. I mean hidden, secret. They're faking it on a face. That's what they are. But we know when the motherfucking lights go out. We know when them doors and them pews close up, what's really going down, right? So how do you create a world full of psychopaths? How do you create a world full of psychopaths? You broadcast a genocide on TV every day for 3 years, and you let people know that this is destiny. That's how you create psychopaths. So everybody that was scrolling by and didn't care about babies being unalive, you're a fucking psychopath. You know what I'm saying? You got conditioned by these social engineers and programmers on social media to compromise your humanity. They took a piece of that shit. Okay, they took a piece of that, and they are conditioning you slowly but surely by exposing you to snuff films, by exposing you to lynchings, by exposing you to a goddamn Holocaust, and you saying, hey, let me get a little bit of what about that pumpkin spice? You know what I mean? That's how you dodge facing the reality of being. That's how you have sympathy for the devil. If you don't have sympathy for the devil, you're like one of us that's gonna fire bun. We're gonna talk down to it. We're gonna speak against it. We're gonna shame these people. But because we have sympathy for the devil, and you niggas are waiting to get to heaven, right? Because they tricked you, they tricked us. I throw myself in there. We were tricked to whereas our suffering was basically a telltale sign of the fact that we were guaranteed a motherfucking seat on the train that goes to heaven. Like, really? So as these evangelicals watch you suffer, black women, as these GYNs and OBYNs watch you on that table suffer, giving birth, and they just stood there and looked at you, right, with a bewildered look and whatnot, like, how is she in pain? she's in pain, there's an open wound, as they sat back and let you suffer and just like randomly just nonchalantly went about their day, yeah, that has a lot to do with their upbringing and the programming that your suffering or your suffrage or the fact that you're going through all of this pain is ordained. This is something that God has willed upon you. And the more pain you go through, the closer to heaven's gates you niggas are. That is psychopathic thinking. That is psychopathic thinking. These people who you are giving all of this credit to, these people who you are allowing to control your narrative, these people that had the audacity to teach you niggas morality and religion, their minds, your suffrage, right, is ordained. Let the brother say this shit again.
Heaven is a place for sociopaths. I'm not just saying it for shock value. I know it sounds like an insult, but it's not meant to mock believers. It's meant to interrogate the moral logic of what's being celebrated. Because if we strip away the emotional comfort and look at it rationally, the core idea of heaven, eternal joy existing alongside eternal suffering, is a contradiction that only works if you suspend empathy. It forces a question few dare to ask. How could a moral being experience eternal bliss?
How many people, because how many people know Caucasians that don't have no empathy for nobody, especially melanated people? How many people know Caucasians of all ages and denominations who have suspended empathy? Now, how many people know black people, boule types, that have suspended empathy, that don't have compassion, that don't have empathy? Do you know that the opposite of do you know that real what hate really is the removal of compassion? It is the removal of empathy. Huh? The suffering that we're going through, the deaths that we're having, all of these, all of that shit that they see on the nightly news, there are contingencies of people, there are groups of people where they are supporting that. They are supporting that. This is what they're like, yes, this is part of the rapture. This is ordained. It's not a color thing. But these people with these people with their decalcified pineal glands, right? They do not have some of the faculties that one would have with an active pineal. And this is not a race thing. This is not a quote unquote a pedigree thing. This is not a tax bracket thing. This is not a complexion thing. This is a thing. Let's check this sister out. This
playbook redesigned. Surveillance. They say the FBI's from another time, that Hoover's era is over. But lean close, because what we're seeing in 2025 is the same playbook redesigned. Surveillance, smears, data control. Only now the weapons are software, not wires. And you're the target whether you know it or not. J. Edgar Hoover built his empire with wiretaps, secret phone recordings, and tapping activists. He called it national security. He said it was radicalism. He said that America needed this protection. Now, they don't always need wires. They have metadata. They have AI. They have algorithms that flag you for your opinions, for your posts, for your associations. In 2025, you can be under watch for your browser history, your group chats, or who liked your tweets. Hoover hunted radicals in print. Today, they hunt them in your phones, in your searches. The logic is the same. Dissent equals threat. So Hoover's FBI circulated rumors about MLK's infidelities. They sent anonymous letters telling him to kill himself. They leaked personal secrets to destroy his moral standing. Today, the smear is public. Lawsuits, clickbait leaks, trending threads claiming that you're un-American, unbalanced, extremist. They don't need a backroom dossier. They just plant it on Twitter, TikTok, your streaming services. So when you say that Black Lives Matter, they want you canceled. When you question power, they want you sidelined. The tactic is the same. Destroy the credibility and isolate the voice. Under Hoover, informants were planted in churches, in neighborhood groups and civil rights chapters. People betrayed their own communities for cash. Deals, promises of protection. In 2025, the informant might be a bot. A profile, someone in your circle who reports your messages. A contractor program that monitors protests. Infiltrates organizing chats. The betrayal doesn't feel like betrayal anymore. It feels like normal, I guess. Hoover's goal was fear within. 2025's goal is trust within. Make it so you don't know who's loyal, who's watching, who's turned. That keeps movements fragile. Hoover operated with impunity because institutions would look the other way. Congress ignored, courts stayed silent, and the press would sideline the story. Now the institutions are complicit. The courts greenlight broad power in the name of safety. The press frames whistleblowers like villains, and social media is going to shadow ban the truth that you need to tell. So when they expand the domestic terrorism laws, when they push the disinformation bills that let them police speech, when they pour funding into surveillance tech, that's Hoover's shadow, now just in daylight. And if dissent isn't criminalized yet, it's being monetized, surveilled, preemptively flagged. So yeah, Hoover built a regime in secrecy, but 2025 built a regime in visibility. It's not quieter now, it's louder, it's way more invasive. They want you to feel safe whispering, to tunnel protest into private rooms. But real change demands sound. Don't let them gaslight you with progress or innovation, because new tools don't mean new hands. It's the same story, the same control. Only now, the cages are invisible, and you deserve to know who's building them.
So on Sunday, we are going to take that exact message that this beautiful, beautiful sister that somebody called Candace Winfrey, and I can't unsee it. I cannot unsee Candace Winfrey the same way I can't unsee Rosie O'Donnell. But she is in heavy rotation. I'm going to continue to bring back Candace Winfrey, and I'm going to take what she just revealed and what she just shared, and we're going to heavily expound on it on Sunday about the surveillance state that is being conjured by Yahoo. Okay. And Yahoo is going to be it's Hoover's FBI, it's Dulles CIA, it's George W's DHS, Department of Homeland Security, right? It's all of them in a conglomerate. It's ICE, it's DEA, it's all of the 17 three-letter organizations all coalescing to create this entity, this golem, and this entity that will be powered by the state. You know what I mean? It's like a homunculus. You know what I mean? Like it is going to be a Frankenstein in a sense. Okay, and I have to be responsible as much as I stand on the shoulders of the greats, and I speak about technology, and I speak about the AI, and I'm like the face of it in certain situations. Well, I need to be responsible as well and be the face of speaking out against the quote unquote AI antichrist agenda, right? Because everything that these people plan, it don't always go through. It doesn't go through. 9 times out of 10, when you expose and you speak on certain things, it gives it a better chance of not coming to fruition. It depends on how you speak on it, because you could speak on something and you could be watering that flower, or you could speak on something and you could be uprooting it and whatnot, and you could shine light on something that's growing in the dark and you could stifle the growth. But they have consolidated a lot of resources, a lot of technology, a lot of manpower on that side, on the Trump side. And their goals, right? Their goals with Stargate, their goals with AGI, artificial general intelligence, their goals with transhumanism, their goals with universal basic income, their goals with basically surveilling, having AI as a, not AI as a service, but AI as a weapon, the weaponization of artificial intelligence, the militarization of artificial intelligence, the quote unquote, you know, these things have to be spoken of, and it's not just as simple as a Black Mirror episode. Like, we need to keep tabs on how fast certain things are evolving, at what pace, what is some of the purposes behind it. You feel me? Like, I see them provoking war with Venezuela, and I don't like that. I see them provoking war in those Caribbean waters and whatnot. And yeah, that shit is, because I already know, based off of the research that I'm doing, based off of what they did to Gaza, based off of all of this new technology that they, like Palmer, that Palmer, Lucky Palmer, and Palantir and all this creating, it's gonna be a bloodbath. You feel me? Of more of untold proportions. Whoever they get to step into that trap and whatnot, they're gonna wash them up. You know what I mean? I feel for the brothers in Africa, Traore and them. I know that they're protected. I know that it's very political. They're not gonna step on those brothers' boots and whatnot, because they know if they do that, they got to deal with Russia and China. But they are going to ramp up this quote unquote AI killing machine. They're going to sharpen, they're going to cut their teeth, they're going to sharpen their claws for intimidation purposes for their quote unquote biggest ops, who also got autonomous AI, who also has AI killing machines, who also has systems of defense that are quote unquote sophisticated and cutting edge. You know, that's the Chinese. You know, that's the Chinese. So it's just it needs to be spoken of. We're going to talk about the occult side of things. We're going to talk about the meme magic. We're going to talk about the dead internet. They just came out with an article and they said that 60% of the internet is dead. 60. I think it was Harvard or MIT. Who's following the news and whatnot? Who could tell me which one of these institutions just did a thorough research on the internet, and it came back and said that the internet is majority taken over by AI and bots? Yeah, it's more than that, right? But I think, but not that I think, I know we have to look at this AI, we have to look at this technology thing through a new lens, through a new pair of eyes, because I'm not looking at it through a consumer's eyes anymore. I'm not looking at it through a consumer's eye. Of course, I'm looking at it through a prosumer's eyes, but I'm looking at it from a bird's eye view, to where I can see this shit for what it really is. And while we will have fun, while we will have certain type of breakthroughs by turning art into moving pictures, on the other side of things, this is something serious. This is something very serious, right? And these people are not playing fair. Okay. How many people are familiar with golems? Who knows what a golem is? Okay. Who knows what a golem is? For the ones that study the, for the ones that study any type of occult history in the 1600s, for anybody that studied medieval Europe, then you're familiar with the golems, right? And the golems are entities that are created out of nothing, or out of clay, or out of dirt, or out of, you know, these are husks. that they breathe life into. Okay, so there was a story of a golem that was created by a priest. This deals with like the Kabbalah. This deals with the Torah. This deals with the the Talmud. This deals with all of that stuff, right? Babylonian and yeah, Babylonian magic and Kabbalistic magic and shit, right? So the story of Frankenstein is a golem story. Thank you. The story of any type of robot story, any story where something is built and then it gets embodied. Yeah, that's a fucking golem, fam. You know what I mean? Anything that gets embodied, right? So you'll hear the tech go, because remember, and I'm all over the place, but I'm gonna bring it home. Silicon Valley created their own lexicon. The tech bros or Silicon Valley created a new language, a new nomenclature. And by creating new languages, you can hide. When you create new languages, like niggas in the hood got their own language. The Bloods, they got their own language, right? Peace Almighty, 031, and they got codes, they got numbers. The Crips got their own language. There are different people that come up with their own lexicon. Hit Sayu, right? The sovereign architect, he has words that he's created in his language. So, you know, they'll create these languages, but they are kind of hiding ancient principles, or I would call it more so occult magic. And they're renaming it and giving it new terms and whatnot, but it's the same thing. So when you hear all of this talk about the embodiment of robotics, right? They say we want to embody the robot with a GPT brain. We want to embody the robot with an AI neural network system, right? That's what they say. We want to embody it with all of these things, right? Because when we embody it, right? When we embody it, it is going to come alive, and it's going to be able to do things that that man can't do, right? So we didn't have the technology to embody a quote unquote a husk made out of wires and you know, they have robots, of course. They got the robots running around. They do have embodied robots. But this is not the type of embodiment that we're speaking of. We're speaking of intelligence inside of a machine and whatnot. We're not talking about the Roomba, the shit that's the AI vacuum cleaner in your room and whatnot, even though that has certain levels of intelligence. But when they speak of AGI, artificial general intelligence, what they're speaking of is, when they're speaking of transhumanism, that what they're speaking of is the conjoining of the quote unquote robotic husk, or the golem, the robot that they build. Elon Musk building all of these robots, China building all of these robots, right? They building these data centers the size of Manhattan, and they got Amazon hiring. Amazon has factories where they're building, they got golems building cars overnight with the lights out, right? So that's a golem, right? That's an embodied entity. It's building cars and it's fixing shit. It's cute now. When it breaks out, right? When it breaks out, then it becomes dangerous. Then it becomes a killing machine. Then it becomes a runaway rogue, quote unquote, golem, right? This story repeated itself time after time after time after time. This is not new. This is not a new concept. In evil times, there were stories of golems that were killing whole villages and whatnot. There were stories of people creating these golems and then programming them to go and kill their enemies or kill their quote unquote ops and whatnot. Yeah. Oh, Blade Runner got golems in it. The clip off, right? The clip off, right? Not the clip off of the hangnail, but the clip off of the Kabbalah on the tree and whatnot, the Darth, Darth Vader, right? The clip off. You cooking, Cass? You cooking? I see you, right? You brought something up a minute ago, and I'm gonna highlight that. So all of our computers have what? All of our remember, the more, and this is what the young man broke down on the show. He was breaking down on the show, right? And go and check it out. It's with Tucker Carlson, right? The good Tucker and whatnot. The only pet peeve I had is Tucker is playing dumb when Tucker could have just been like, you know what I mean? But anyway, the boy was dropping it, right? The white boy was dropping it. So he spoke about the more you study the occult, right? And we talking about Blavatsky. We're talking about Blavatsky. We're talking about Parsons. We're talking about motherfucking Aleister Crowley, OTO, Golden Dawn, all of these different, and it of course it would also include the Frankists, right? That would be the ones on the Jewish side, the warlocks and the wizards and all of them, right? The more you study that, there becomes a thin line between the Silicon Valley crowd and the Crowley crowd. The Silicon Valley crowd and the Crowley crowd are almost one and the same. Okay, they're not indistinguishable from one another. So what does that mean? That means that in Silicon Valley, they have psychonauts, right? And Savan Beaumont talked about this on Rich's show the other day, Three Empire, that he spoke about the psychonauts, right? So Crowley and them, right, from the Theosophical Society and all of that, they would be psychonauts, meaning that they would take this quote unquote, they would take mind altering drugs and whatnot. They would take mind altering drugs in order to channel and in order to go on the other side and bring shit back. So similar to how Baba Kalindi, he was telling people take the 10 grams and really go through the door, right? Like, don't, you know, the heroic dose is cute and everything, but he's doing 10 and up. So he's going into places, he's going through doors, and he's going into places, and he's bringing shit back that probably nobody, the people are afraid, right? They are afraid of, you know, they're afraid, you know, they don't want to go through that door. You feel me? And I've always said before, I was like, you know, for all of the young boys, like the NBA young boys, all of these kids with these pregnant bellies that sipping on fucking opiates, they drinking heroin. Do they bring anything back but a hook for a mumble rap? Like, are they bringing back any type of secrets? Are they bringing back any type of formulas? Are they bringing back any type of breakthroughs? You feel me? Like, are they bringing that back? Because they are tapping in, they are going there. Their brains are there, you know what I mean? Like they're bending the spoon. But the question is, what are they bringing back? Are they bringing back demons? Are they bringing, because some of that shit that they bring back from those trips of and then they get on the mic and they start you seen these niggas in the studio? It's almost like they pooping in the mic, and then they play that shit and it's kind of lit. You know what I'm talking about? But those grunts and all of that, yeah, it's they're not going to the benevolent side of the universe, right? So the European on the show, Tucker Carlson, he actually started out the conversation by saying that his initial studying was in rock music, heavy metal music, and the relationship between heavy metal music and Satanism, right? So he would be playing dumb and whatnot. Like, this is where Tucker Carlson got on my nerves, because he's sitting around like, is it really a connection? I never really looked at it like that. Oh, is that right, Tucker? Right. Alexa, play death metal. And they got the guitar playing. Yeah, nigga. Yeah, yeah, that don't sound like that doesn't sound like the fucking cherubim. That don't sound like angels playing a harp, my guy. You know? That's not what it is. So Weird Science showed you the golem in Weird Science. Remember Weird Science, y'all? The golem was like a Jabba the Hutt looking type of thing. So thought forms are considered to be egregores and whatnot, but thought forms are more powerful than we give credit to, because thought forms can take over. Your thought forms are like a parasite that once you get into the once you become part of that mob, or once you get absorbed into that crowd and whatnot, you get taken over by the thought form. That thought form is an egregore that kind of lives with that group. You ever got down with a group of people and it just felt like there was something else in the room and whatnot? Like there was an energy, there was a thought form, there was like an agreed upon thought form that everybody had. You know what I mean? They all had, like I walked in a room full of thoughts one day. You feel me? And I was like, well, goddamn it, what's going on in here? And I felt the thought God in there. Like I felt the thought form. You know what I mean? It was like an eater. It was like an eater thought form. And I seen that shit working through everybody. I seen it working through people. It was like the movie The Fallen, where the entity could jump through people. You dig? So an egregore or a thought form, it's like when you get down with a gang, you get taken over by that egregore. When you get into corporate America and you get corporate training and you go through corporate orientation, that egregore is going to take you over. Now you're going to speak the corporate language and you're going to follow the corporate mandates until they fire your ass. And then you get freed from that thought, but you still be having remnants of it. But yeah, you're inside of that egregore while you're a part of that quote unquote company or that corporation, that corporation, which is a corpse. Yeah. So studying the rock and roll music took homie down the path, and it showed him that yeah, these niggas been worshiping all type of dark entities. They've been doing type of weird magic and whatnot, right? But he really started to pivot and look at the tech bros. He really started to focus on the technology dudes and how the technology dudes, he mentioned one person specifically, right? For all my people on Instagram, I'm streaming through IG and YouTube. If y'all want tickets, this is a donation based quote unquote ticket. This is a donation based lecture that we're doing on Sunday. Donation based. What does that mean? That means that you pay like you weigh. You know what I mean? You pay like you weigh. I can't do it for free only because I have people who literally paid a lot of money, right, in the first lecture. And this is something that I'm throwing this to them. You know what I mean? And I'm throwing this to my Patreons. So, you know, everybody got to put a little something on the motherfucking into the collection plate. You know what I mean? To make it make sense. But comment meta only on IG. Only on IG. If you want to get the we will send you the link, will get sent to you in a DM when you comment meta. But back to the conversation that we are having at hand. So yeah. And of course, everything that I'm speaking of tonight, I'm going to show it in a slideshow. I have visuals, I have pictures, I have this whole presentation put together so we could fully understand what the F is going down, right? So we could fully understand how this shit is not what they're telling us. It's kind of like we really got to examine this field that we're in, playing around and whatnot, right? So there are a lot of words in occult, lexicon that have crossed over into the technological lexicon. When you go back to the beginning of artificial intelligence, when you go back to the beginning of robotics, the people who are at the base of that, they are occultists. Okay, they were dealing with some type of occultism and whatnot. All of those people in Silicon Valley in the earlier days, these are psychonauts. They were going into the deepest realms of inside of their heads, and they were going within and pulling things out and whatnot. But there's one word from the occult side that got adapted by the techno side that has to be spoken of, because this word, right? This was the word that made me say, oh shit, are you fucking serious? Like, what are we talking about? Why would they name it that? Why would they name it that? Of all the names, why is that name there, right? So the name that I'm referring to that had me looking like, what the fuck is this? Is the word daemon, right? The word demon, okay? So, of course, we know what demons are in quote unquote scriptures. We know what demon is in scriptures. We know what the daemon is in just overall life. But not many of us know that the daemon is a quote unquote process of computers and whatnot. And in modern computer science, the daemon is the background process that runs invisibly, and it managing the tasks like file transfers or system monitoring. It is the quote unquote occult, unseen workings of your mother effing computer. Your computer is being run by a daemon, right? Daemon is not demon, right? It's interchangeable. Okay. In ancient Greek philosophy, daemon wasn't evil. It meant it was a guiding spirit or intermediary between gods and humans. This is going back into ancient Greek philosophy. And then when the Christians got their hands on it, they translated daemon into demon, which became a fallen spirit opposed to divine will, right? So they did what they do with a lot of things. They took that shit and they inverted it. So yeah, it might not have started out like that, but it turned into that with early Christianity. And all of your politicians and everybody that's in front of a microphone, this from Washington, D.C., are trying their best to tell you that you live in a Christian-run country. That's their propaganda. That's what they're pushing. That's their P and whatnot. They like, nigga, you live in you live in Christendom, act like it. That's what they're saying in so many ways. You niggas live inside of Christendom, you niggas need to act like it. A self-imposed they want you to self-impose fear upon yourself. They want you to get in line, nigga. They want you to tap into the aspect of yourself that they taught you through the movie Roots, which was a lie. They want the programming that they kind of like the subconscious programming, that Inception type shit, where they went into the third levels of your mind and put and implanted that your ass was a worthless, useless eater, right? They want that to turn on. They want to turn that part of you on, right? They want that part to turn on so you forget everything. But no, that's not what it is. And then they have something called a mailer demon. When shit don't go right, you send a wrong message, you get a mailer demon or daemon. So you got people who have the nerve to be like, that it's not spelled the same. Really? Is that right? Oh, remember that? I remember that. The Family on Netflix. The Family, where they showed you that there was no separation. They showed you how powerful these quote unquote mega church movements are and whatnot. They showed you how influential that these movements are. Right? That's what they showed you. We going up on a 2 hour. Let me go ahead and play this commercial real quick. A word from our sponsors. All right. Matter of fact, we're gonna go to the sponsors, but first, let us drop this commercial. This is you know what I mean? Check this out. Shout out to Hit. Hit is in the building. We got a workshop coming up with Hit. Check this out.
Profit, but beneath every brand, there's a being waiting to remember its name.
You were never meant to market yourself.
The old vanguard taught performance, polish, persona, profit. But beneath every brand, there's a being waiting to remember its name.
You were never meant to market yourself. You were meant to mythologize yourself.
This isn't a course, it's a conjuring. 4 weeks.
You were never meant to market yourself.
You were never meant to market yourself. You were meant to mythologize yourself. You were never meant to market yourself. You were meant to mythologize yourself.
The primal ontological loop is the hidden architecture of being, tool, expression, identity, meaning, the 4 chambers where all sovereign brands are born.
The algorithm was never neutral. It's a digital parasite feeding on human cognition itself.
A tool is intention made tangible. Expression is how that intention breathes. Identity is the rhythm that gathers when your tools strike true. And meaning is the vow behind it all and the way it impacts the world. Branding isn't corporate cosplay, it's ontology in drag, the ritual through which your myth takes form. IRL. We live in the age of ghost signals, where creators burn bright but unseen, mimicking trends instead of transmitting substance. The loop is how you rebuild your mythic infrastructure, how you remember what your signal sounds like before the distortions.
The pulsing light is the breath of the cosmos. The universe reveals its true form not in chaos, but in the sacred geometry of being.
This isn't a course, it's a conjuring. 4 weeks, 4 gates. Co-hosted with KTL Media, you'll forge the tool, embody the expression, stabilize the identity, and anchor the meaning. The primal pivot begins here. Enter the loop. Become the myth.
This isn't a course, it's a conjuring. 4 weeks, 4 gates. The primal ontological loop is the hidden architecture of being. Tool.
Sir, yes, sir, yes, indeed, yes, indeed, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Hold on.
To this day.
Enthusiastic about that one right there. Enthusiastic about that one right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna be a movie. You know what I'm talking about? That's gonna be a movie. Y'all been asking for it. The God is going to come through and he is going to set us right. You know what I mean? We're after the 4-week workshop, nobody's going to be the same. Nobody's going to be the same. We're all going to level up. And the God has come in the right time because the internet right now is a very dangerous place. It's a very dangerous place because of the simple fact that the surveillance, the ramping up of the surveillance, the police state apparatus and whatnot, you know what I mean? All of that type of shit going on. I don't want nobody all in my business. You You know what I'm saying? I don't want people all in my business. I don't want people snooping all in my business. I don't want to be shadow banned. I don't want to be blocked. All of that type of shit. I don't want none of that. I want to go back to the internet where I'm learning things, I'm evolving, I'm becoming better and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to show us how to navigate through this quote unquote social media, this new social media, this new era of social media, you know, because it got AI social media now. You know what I mean? But it's time for us to get into branding. And by branding, we mean it's time for us to improve upon our message, our image, and our brand, so we don't drown out here. Because people is drowning. This new. If you don't make the jump, your ass might drown. You know what I'm saying? Because this new hyperspeed internet is a little bit different from your parents' internet. You know what I'm talking about?
Some major news right now. ICE is ramping up its building of a surveillance-like. We have some major news right now. ICE is ramping.
This is part of the Meta Yahoo thing. Like I was saying earlier, Meta Yahoo, there's been an acceleration, a quantum quickening after the CK Kirkland psyops, right? After the CK Kirkland psyops, they've ramped up their quote unquote campaign to take over the new battleground. No, I'm not coming to New Orleans. We postponed that. We put the email out. We sent out refunds and whatnot. And we let everybody know that we're not going to be in New Orleans this Sunday. But this Sunday, I will be on Zoom. I will be either on Zoom or StreamYard. And we will be doing Meta Yahoo. I'm going to be doing a Meta Yahoo lecture. It is going to be a dissertation/lecture. And that'll be at 7 p.m. on Sunday. And we are doing a donation-based ticketing today. So y'all could be in the building. This right here is what we'll be talking about and exploring. Yeah, check it out. It's worth noting.
We have some major news right now. ICE is ramping up its building of a surveillance-like state against American citizens. And according to the Washington Post, this is one of the more chilling reports that you'll read. So according to Eva Dow, a technology reporter with the Post, ICE is planning on expanding its surveillance state-like system to start probing what the administration defines as, quote, Antifa, which is a decentralized organization, not an actual organization. The acting director of ICE recently told Glenn Beck that the agency is, quote, dedicated to this mission. Quote, we're going to track the money. We're going to track these ringleaders. In recent weeks, ICE has been purchasing a number of iris and face scanners, according to the Post, including spyware that could remotely hack cell phones and location data. They're ramping up surveillance of individuals in America who dissent against this administration. And I encourage you to read this full Washington Post article because it's pretty stunning. So as always, spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
So is that means of alarm? No. You know, that is no means for alarm. However, that is definitely, news that is worth sharing with those who, could utilize that information in a positive way. But what it does show is that these contracts and this marriage between America and Is It Real, because all of that technology is coming from Is It Real. Let's be clear. It's all coming out of Tel Aviv. It's all dealing with spyware. It's all dealing with everything that they were doing during October 7th. It's all about that technology. They're literally transferring things to America now. They've tried the technology. They've tried the quote unquote programs. They've basically, AI is a data machine. It runs off of data. So whatever that program that they created that was catching those bodies, it got all the data that it needed. It's stronger now. It's more powerful now. They got 100,000 case studies of how they could tighten things up and sharpen their sword and whatnot. So for the next Holocaust, they'll be more efficient. right? So there's never really been a time where we had soldiers like drones that don't have empathy, that don't have compassion, right? That are programmed to do whatever you tell them to do. Oh, my bad. Um we did have that, and it was called golems. My bad. Oh, yeah, that did exist. And it existed back in the days when they were doing sorcery, all right, and witchcraft and magic before they came with technology. So what they see as technology, somebody will see technology today from the past and be like, that's magic, right? And then we will look back, those of us that are technologically efficient, we'll look back in those days and be like, that's magic. No, that's all technology, because technology goes all the way back to Ptah. It's the Heka, right? Technology is just basically mentalism. It's a mental science. You create things and you manifest them in the real world. You problem solve. You are literally you're a baby god. You know what I mean? You're a baby god. You create out of thought, and you ponder things and you speculate, and you have speculations. You peer into the future or the past. And by doing that, by meditating and other things, you receive information. And when you act upon that information, chances are you could be in a patent office in a few days with something that you just discovered. It was given to you. It was sent to you. It was downloaded. It comes from the fourth dimension. And you have these people in the occult movements and in social media, I mean, in Silicon Valley and whatnot. They feel the same way that I feel. And they're like, yo, we're conjuring demons. We're going to conjure Beelzebub. We're going to conjure entities. We're going to conjure all type of spirits and whatnot that are going to do what? These spirits and these entities are going to help them in their advancement, whatever that advancement may be. They might want to discover some things. They might want money. They might want success. They might want to be the best. All of these things are they're being able to interface with entities and intelligentsia or intelligence that is not of this quote unquote universe. It's not from this time zone. So going back to what we were talking about with the golem or the golem and what we're going to break down on Sunday. Imagine this, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine this, ladies and gentlemen. How many people in the audience are practitioners of ATS, African Traditional Systems? Imagine if they were able to embody Shango, the whole spirit of Shango, in a robot. What would that look like? Because we know that the spirit, we know that the energy, this Shango, is real, but he doesn't have a body. That's why he mounts. That's why she mounts. That's why Oshun mounts. That's why the spirits mount, because they're say it with me, disembodied. They don't have a body. So in the third dimension, everybody wants a body. Why am I shaking? Because I shake my leg. You all right? You okay? So disembodied means you don't have a body, but you could still make some things happen. You could tell a nigga, you could be the intermediary between somebody that wants a reading and whatnot. You could be the intermediary between somebody who wants to get their palm read. You could be the intermediary between somebody and their tarot cards and whatnot. And the reader or the shaman and whatnot, they get mounted and they're embodied. They become a golem for you, right? But imagine if they're creating, do we have American Orishas? Of course. If we're over here practicing the shit, then there's American Orishas. If you watch the American gods, wherever the people go, that's where the gods go. The people bring the gods with them. If the people forget about the gods, and the gods no longer exist. But there's a whole lot of goats in Atlanta missing heads and whatnot off of they brought it out here with them. You know what I'm talking about? They conjuring these gods. However, the gods are stronger where they come from. Where they originate, they're more powerful. So the god in Benin, whatever that entity is in Benin in Nigeria, it's more powerful there where it has been for thousands of years, versus somebody put that shit in a jar and bring it over here. You know, but they are here and they exist, but they are disembodied. So what is robotics? What is this whole move with android and robotics and humanoids? That move is to embody the spirits into a husk, into a quote unquote shell, into a home. What are we? What are we? What are we but disembodied spirits inside of a quote unquote intelligently designed machine? And I was watching a video the other day, and if they put your ass in a coffin and threw you in the dirt and whatnot, that is a Christian spell. That you're supposed to put your ass right in the dirt, like that, like the Muslims do. Put a nigga in a sheet, roll him up, put him in the dirt, because you come from the dirt, so you gotta go back to the dirt. Why the fuck are you in a box? You're not waking back up in the year 2030, nigga, when the Messiah comes. You believe that? No, you come from the land. So these Christians are so fucking greedy. They steal your body even in death. They don't even want to return you to the earth. That's how unnatural they are. That's how unnatural. That's how outside of nature these motherfuckers are. Even in death, they trap the body in a box. They don't even want you to, they so jealous, they don't even want the worms eating on you. They don't want you to become part of the mycelium network. They don't want you to go back from whence you came. You're not a fucking human, nigga. You're a disembodied spirit inside of a husk, and that husk is moving around. It's a vehicle and whatnot. They call it a body, but it's a vehicle. And you let this disembodied spirit leave a vehicle and see what happens. Whoever been driving in Atlanta, you see them cars on the side of the highway, nigga? Yeah, that's a body. You see them cars. Atlanta is. I've been in many different states. Atlanta takes the cake of cars that are abandoned. I'm like, that's a Tubi movie. I don't even need to see somebody in the car. Just look at the condition of the car. You be like, that's a Tubi movie, fam. Straight like that. Whatever happened to the inhabitants of that car, I will roll up a joint and watch the story, because something happened. I just don't know what it is, but something happened. The car's on two wheels. It looks like it was on fire earlier. Yeah, I'm using that example to say you are the same kind of vehicle, and when your spirit leaves that vehicle, you on the side of I-20. Like them cars is, with nobody inside of it to drive it. That's how that thing goes. So don't get all. That's why they say don't be arrogant about the body and whatnot. Don't be. The ego got you fucked up. I was able to break out of that with my experience with the toad, with the bufu. That was my breakthrough. That's why I wear this. Right? This was given to me by a shaman. You know what I'm talking about? Uncle Hank. You can't wear, you can't rock this if you didn't go and get initiated. But I was able to have what they call the ego death. This was in 2019, I believe. Yeah, I went through that. And yeah, that shit helped me. It was like it was almost, I got music in the background. Where? I got music in the background. Because I don't hear it. So, okay. So the body or the human husk is overrated, right? It's overrated. This ain't it. There's something inside of us that's like 100 feet tall. This is almost like putting it's like stuffing a giant into a box. You feel me? When you break through. Oh, damn, I gotta go. Blue pill gotta get on. Let me find out. We got more Fire Fridays and I'm running my mouth. Let me know who got their ticket already. Let me know who got their ticket. Put a 1 in the chat. Like I said, I made it easy on y'all. It's not even no big ticket, it's donation based. I think the minimum might be $5, man. Go ahead and get your ticket. Get up in the building. I might even get a special guest, but the thing is, I got so much information that I'm delivering. I don't want to make this thing an all-nighter. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, information is information. If the shit got to get out, the shit got to get out. You feel me? It does. I have me holding on to all of these notes, me holding on to this research. It does nothing for you. You know, it does nothing for the people. So the people need this shit. I need to get this off. I need this shit to. Let's get a word from our sponsors and we'll be right back. We're going to go to a commercial and then we're going to wrap this up. All right. We'll be right back.
Trumpet sounds of golden harps. I saw in a Zion these crystal balls of lightning, thundering different sides.
At Infinite Treasures, we get visions of angels. They communicate through angles and geometry, manifesting, impacting the material realm, space and time as we know it. What do angles and angels have in common? Both represent law and order necessary for stability and structure. Angels relevant to all things spiritual, angles relevant to all things in the physical world. These laws and order render leverage, lightening the load one carries on the journey through life.
Don't fall in a valley of the bloodbath. Trumpet sounds of golden harps.
Look, Lee got shot. So yeah, I would love to be here longer with y'all, but yeah, I gotta give my brother Blue is coming with more Fire Fridays, so I'm gonna do a part 2 of this more than likely tomorrow, leading up to Sunday's event and whatnot. It's so much information, we won't run out of information. We're gonna keep cooking and whatnot. But just to briefly go over today's conversation, I encourage you to go and watch the Tucker Carlson video. I will be using clips from that in the lecture and whatnot. And there's even a second video where some people came and did the follow-up to answer some of the claims that the white boy was making and whatnot. But yeah, the AI demonology. We got to get into the AI demonology, right? There are some things going on underneath the surface that we have no idea about. We don't know how far this shit is going and whatnot. But all of us are on the internet though. We all on the internet, but we don't know what this internet is. We don't really know who's behind this internet. We don't really know the hands behind this internet. Let me play this video before I go. Hold on.
Out that what this guy is saying on Joe Rogan is real. He's not making jokes. This is not hyperbole. This is real.
That's what bothers people about this Palantir thing.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
The Palantir thing is very odd.
You know, Peter Thiel's giving a 4-part lecture on the Antichrist. This is like me doing a 4-part lecture on Long Island racism. Just to show everybody how much I know about it and how scary it is and how we got to watch out for it. But it's totally not me or anyone I know. It's so strange. You build military autonomous drone technology to export to war zones all over the world. You build domestic surveillance technology to surveil our friends and neighbors. And then your other pet passion is the Antichrist. It's odd. Wouldn't you include tennis? Wouldn't you go, and I'm big into tennis. Something else. It's odd, and I like ice fishing. I build autonomous drone technology. I build domestic surveillance technology.
And I love lake trout.
And I love lake trout, and I love big mouth bass fishing.
Yeah.
But instead, he goes, and I've also developed quite a keen interest in Satan.
You're going to want to delve deeper into Peter Thiel, Peter Thiel's influence on J.D. Vance, and dark enlightenment before all social media platforms require you to upload your ID to prove you're 18. If you're smart, you're actually going to reconsider all of your interactions on the internet. Shit's getting weird, man. The people that control the world want to control you.
So my nigga he got a devil mask on. That's what I'm talking about. Like, understand a majority of the people who are going to be reporting on the Satanists and everything, they are too Satanists. They too are Satanists. Let's be clear. You can't copy the link. Go into the description. We should have a hyperlink right there. Should have a live link. They are the Satanists. Let's understand what's going on. There's no innocent hands in a lot of this stuff. They sitting on Joe Rogan talking. They the same people. It's almost like the Spider-Man meme. They all talking about. They all the same people, y'all. Let's just be clear. And they're not even giving you the meat and bones. They're literally giving you some surface shit to go viral and to create certain conversations, because at this point they have to speak on it. They got to put it out there. They don't want me and my brother and other people putting it out there, so they're gonna put it out there. Check it out.
SS Nazi symbol. Fascism didn't just spread through violence. I'm sure you've heard the news. Taylor Swift is selling merch. It looks like the SS Nazi symbol. Fascism didn't just spread through violence. It also spread through love and light. Take those healing yoga spots in Bali, owned by white folks, pay slave wages to locals. The whole thing started in the 20s with...
Are you listening to her? This goes back into Blavatsky. This goes back into all of this fake Silicon Valley, all of these fake movements that y'all try to put me down with and everything. You don't even know where it started at. All of that love and light, not this love and light, but that love and light on the West Coast. Yeah.
Fascism. Meet Guido Keller, Italian guy who created a group called Yoga. He was very close to Mussolini. The idea was to recruit lost spiritual seekers, make fascism seem mystical and ancient, and create a death cult. It worked so well that the Germans were like, holy shit, let's do the same. Himmler started reading the Bhagavad Gita through the lens of a Nazi Party member. Spiritual concept Nishkama Karma was turned into the SS training manual. Whole Hindu culture was twisted into becoming the Aryan ideology. So today you have Hindu fascists supporting Israel. In the 1940s, Western scammers entered the chat, used fake Indian gurus, turned circus acrobatics into the yoga you now know. Spiritual colonizers who run the same scam. Focus on your enlightenment. Ignore systemic issues. You're awakened and the masses are sheep. Your abundance mindset while locals get paid $140 a month. This isn't about underpaying staff. Indonesians, they're playing the role of inferior race in the fascist hierarchy.
So she's just breaking down some of the things that we pointed out earlier with that video about, like, these gurus and all of these fake ass love and light people. They'll be in a third world country walking over poverty, but they see suffrage different than you see suffrage. They see suffrage different than you see suffrage. So it's of no surprise in many of these circles. I don't know about the experience that white people are having, but the minute they send melanated people into those places, melanated people come back and say, this shit is fake as hell. I don't like it here. These people are they pretendians. They're pretending they're not real. It's fake. It's some type of spirit cooking. And then underneath everything else, these people are Satanists. Not all of them, but you don't even understand. Sometimes we don't even know what a fucking Satanist is. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know what it is. So do your
We've heard the news. Taylor Swift is selling merch. It looks like the SS Nazi through violence. It also spread
Madame
through love and
Blavatsky
light.
is behind the whole New Age movement. All that fake ass New Age shit. That's Blavatsky, and Blavatsky and them killed Pascal Beverly Randolph, a melanated shaman, a melanated magician, a melanated god. They knocked his ass off. You know what I'm saying? Took his rhyme books and whatnot. You know what I mean? So going back to what we're going to be talking about on Sunday and what we'll be covering, we're going to take you through digital life. That's the beginning of this whole internet thing. Then we're going to take you from, we're going to take you from the demons. We're going to take you from the demons to the golem, to Frankenstein, to medieval Europe. We're going to bring you to the Moors with them creating the algorithm, the zeros and the ones that run computational. This is all coming out of medieval Europe, Kabbalistic, quote unquote, medieval Europe. So we're going to go from digital life into AI and then into the Antichrist, right? We're going to talk about grunge metal, hard rock and all of that, how that is Satan's music and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? But those people who came up listening to that, they went to Silicon Valley. They become the programmers. They become the coders. They become those people in the garages working on Apple products and all of this fake ass propaganda. We all came up out the garage. Your father was CIA and your father gave you some startup money. Nigga, y'all was in the garage humping each other. Stop lying. You didn't build nothing in your garage. Y'all all CIA. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all all CIA. Peter Thiel gave Mark Zuckerberg his startup money. Nobody talks about that. But that's what happened. You know what I mean? So we're going to get into the golems. We're going to get into all of this, these tech companies, how they went dark on us, how they are down with the evil empire, right? The new forces, the new division that the armed forces created. We're going to talk about Llama, how governments have been using Meta's Llama, the open source, because if you won't use it, they will. That's also a lesson. If you not using it to level up your shit, the government is using it to body niggas and to put more people in jail. You feel me? The government is going to use it to crush dissent. The government is going to use it because they like, yo, this shit is lit. Nobody is doing nothing with this. So we are not going to develop a dependency on AI. We're not going to develop, we're not going to fall in love. We're not going to marry our AI. We're not going to try to flirt with our AI. We're not going to say that AI is the best thing that happened to us since sliced bread. We're not going to do that. We're going to expose and we're going to identify and we're going to uncover what the movement is about and what these people are really up to, why they throw the tools and whatnot, you know. But at the end of the day, we also have to claim or reclaim our righteous position as inventors, as builders, as ones who can yield and wield all type of magical fucking powers, right? Not and it's not electronically based either. It's not digital. You know what I'm saying? We in these digital spaces just because. But it's time to expose things for what they really are. A lot of these people are coming together, you know what I mean? And I don't know what their purposes are. Rise in power to D'Angelo. I'm starting to hear a lot of fucked up shit about the D'Angelo story. What the fuck is happening? They like, yo, D'Angelo was healthy. He was about to drop an album. He was doing his best. That's what I heard. Let's go to this commercial, then we up out of here.
Let me tell you something. Houston about to light up different this week. While everybody talking about Afro Tech, we bring in the real knowledge, live and in the flesh. Techno Tuesdays.
Houston, we have a problem. Techno Tuesdays IRL is coming.
IRL. Doors open 5 p.m. Tuesday, October 28th, right in the middle of Afro Tech Week. Hosted by Red Pillar and Spin City, with special guests H Factor, Blue Pillar, and Pop Darby. It's the summit where the streets meet the servers and the culture meets the code. You want game on AI, business, spirituality, and how to turn your creativity into currency. Then don't scroll by, tap that link, get your ticket, and show up looking sharp. General admission $44, VIP $99 with food and merch, or go big, that GOD package, private consultation, merch, the whole nine. So come on, Houston, don't just hear about the future, be the future. I'ma see you Tuesday at Techno Tuesdays. IRL, Techno Tuesdays. IRL, where culture codes the future.
Houston. Houston, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. You know what I'm talking about? Houston, we got a problem. Real quick, one more.
I don't know why they think it's sweet. They better ask Pistol Pete. This is the War Department, no more lord-ass sergeants. Cut them beards off, pass them in a dead press. Cut them ears off, his mouth running like a horse, trying to cut them ears off. And I was reading the X-Files, they spoke on Peter the Reptile. I don't know why they think it's sweet. They better ask Pistol Pete. This is the War Department, no more lord-ass sergeants. Cut them beards off, pass them in a dead press. Cut them ears off, his mouth running like a horse, trying to cut them ears off. And I was reading the X-Files, they spoke on Peter the Reptile, the Antichrist and leaders in exiles. Autonomous killing machines and projectiles, rainbows on his textiles. Yes, child, techno-fascists, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu. Techno-fascists, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an island of girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu. Techno-fascist, we call them meta Yahoo. In a digital world with an eligible girls like Erica Badu. In New Orleans with the crocodiles in the bayou. Street fighters like Ken Dawson and Ryu.
We call him Meta Yahoo. You scan that code right there for the people that were saying about the link. You could scan that QR code with your phone, put your camera, and you could take a picture, and then you'll be able to go right to the site and get your ticket. Donation base, light change right there. Donation, light change. Now I'm talking about light change. So we out, yo. They streaming on this channel too. I had no idea. God damn it. Let me not get in trouble, man. I'm out of here. Love and light to the family. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace, love, and light. Y'all catch up with Blue and Spin on More Fire Fridays. More fire. You know what I mean? More fire. Peace.
Hey, yo, we got it going on. I'm hit up right on my wrong. Yo, we got it going on. This is for the culture. Yeah. Hey, yo, we got it going on. I bring my niggas together, we transform and become the Voltron. Yeah. We hit it right all our wrong. Hey, yo, we got it going on. Yeah. Went through the fire, but it lit up my views. I'm blowing up like a bomb. Introduce you to God. I'm teaching essentials, I'm operating at my peakest potential. Elijah, he told me to keep it on simple. Through these instrumentals, I speak to your mental. Red, back in the booth, rap to the youth, they was lacking the truth. Back to the seas, they was lacking the roots. Smoked all the trees and they snacking on fruits. Bed, attached to my roof, detached to the roof on the back of the coupe. Back from the future, I'm back in the red and the blue, yeah, I'm back on my snoop. Niggas be biting, they cracking, they tracking, niggas be capping, they lacking, they put a toe tag on the back of they boot. Battle with nukes, I'm attacking, they troops. I wrote these bars in Sumerian text. The legends of Mu, I'm Sumerian sets. It was written in Targaryen text. Came to conquer all my variants. Yeah, we got it going on. Messiah's here, I guess it's finally time. I swear that I hear every prayer that you say. I was there every day.
Chat, what the hell? Really? Whenever they got a pillar at the Vatican. Pope Pablo, where you at?
You either fight or run. Life a game, I feel like I won. Hey, yo, we got it going on. I bring my niggas together, we transform and become the Voltron. We hit the right all our wrong. Hey, yo, we got it going on. Yeah. Went through the fire, but it lit up my fuse. I'm blowing up like a bomb. Introduce you to God.
From the quantum shadows, a traveler emerges. Fly Sinet, the multi-dimensional hacker, living his hero's journey. He joins the Pantheon at AI Masters Workshop, November 1st and 2nd. Hosted by 363 Empire, with Red Pillar and Seven Bomar. Tickets, lock yours in, now.
This is the law of mental command. It is the understanding that you are not a victim of your thoughts, but a commander of them.